Hello, Unity of Austin kids. Can you believe it's already been a month? Can you believe it's already October? I cannot. I cannot believe we have been apart for over 6 months now. And we are just trudging along. Um, I know that y'all went back to school. Some of you went back to school in person, and some of you are staying from home remotely. And either way, school is in session, and that has its own challenges, I am sure. We sure do miss you. And um, I am just here to remind you that we are still here. And hopefully that every week when you see us, that you feel a little bit of a connection to Unity of Austin Church, and you know that we are still here for you. So, since we're in a brand new week with me, why don't we take a minute to breathe and center ourselves? So let's take a big deep breath in. Remember, we smell the flower and then we blow the flower. So why don't we do that 3 times? So I'm going to do that to center myself, to make myself ready to teach you today. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to close my eyes. You can close your eyes if you feel safe. Okay, here we go. Breathe in. And blow it out. Smell the flower. There. For me personally, I am much more centered. So today's lesson is about truth and truthfulness. And I'm sure that you know the difference between truth and the untruth, or a truth and a lie. And sometimes when we have to tell the truth, it is not easy, right? It's not, because you're afraid of what's going to happen. But if we trust, and that's what this story is about today. It's about truthfulness. It's about trusting. And so the affirmation. So here's some of you kids know that Miss Janell knows sign language. That's what I do for work. I do sign language, which is why I sometimes show you guys sign language. Well, the funny thing is, in my story this week, there was a lesson in sign language. I thought, wow, that is just supposed to be how it's supposed to be. So here's the lesson. It's the affirmation. And so I'm going to teach you the affirmation in sign language. Okay, first I'm going to read it in English, and then I will show you in sign language. Okay, so the affirmation this week is, my heart holds the truth. My voice speaks the truth. My life shares the truth. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Push my camera back a little bit so you can get a little bit more picture of my body. Okay, so now my heart, right? Where's your heart? That's right, that's your heart, right? So we can touch it with the second finger here. We can say heart, right? You can draw a heart, but I just touch my heart. So that's the sign that I use for heart, okay? So my heart, and how do you hold something? You kind of hold it, or you can press it against yourself, right? So I'm going to do this. My heart, we're going to hold it inside, holds, and here's the fun part. Truth, take your first finger, and it comes out. That means real. That means true, okay? So we're going to say, my heart holds the truth. And you see it's like words coming that are real, okay? So my heart holds the truth. My voice, my computer notifications are popping up. I don't know if you can hear those. My heart holds the truth. My voice. So you're going to make like a number 2 and imagine that your words are coming out of your mouth. That's your voice, okay? It's also the letter V, but voice, it's not, I don't know if it's because of the letter V or because that's like the words coming out of our mouth, okay? So number 2, voice. So my voice speaks truth. Remember this, real truth. And my life, do little fist hands, put your thumbs on both sides here, okay? So not this one, it's like this, okay? And go from your belly to your shoulders. So that's your body, right? That's your life, okay? Your life. This one's kind of fun. I'm going to add this. This wasn't in the lesson, but because Miss Janell knows sign language, I'm going to show you guys a few extra signs. So you're going to take your hand. You're going to shake somebody's hand, right? So you can take the other hand, like you're going to shake their hand, and you're going to share. So remember, the affirmation is my life shares the truth. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So it's my life shares, and we're going to kind of go around in a circle and kind of go back and forth amongst your hand. So if you imagine that there's something here that you're going to share with everybody, you're going to give everybody a little piece. So my life shares the truth. So now I'm going to do all 3 in order. And because this is a recording, you can go back and learn it. And then when it comes time to do it with me, all 3, you can do it with me. That'd be fun. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to make sure I read it correctly. My heart holds the truth. My voice speaks the truth. My life shares the truth. And that's the truth. So here's the story today, guys. The story is a Chinese story called The Gardener. So sit back and enjoy. Lian was only 8 years old, but she was already famous in her village for her skill with plants. Under her care, flowers and vegetables grew strong and healthy. When she wasn't in school or helping her parents, Lian tended to plants. Sometimes she was in her own garden, but often she was in the other villagers' gardens, helping to make sure that the flowers were abundant and the vegetables were plentiful. Lian heard stories of the most famous gardens in the land, the imperial gardens at the emperor's palace, but she never expected to see them. Now she was amazed to find herself traveling in a fine royal coach with many others on her way to see the emperor's gardens. The emperor had asked the best gardener from each village to come to the palace and tour the large and beautiful royal gardens. Lian was one of hundreds chosen to make the journey, and she was the youngest of them all. Once they had toured all the gardens within the palace walls, everyone gathered in the courtyard to be greeted by the emperor himself. Lian's head was full of incredible sights that she had seen, flowers of every color and shape, vegetable gardens and fruit orchards filled with a variety that it would take years to study them, and healing plants and herbs that were used to treat diseases that she'd never even heard of. She was so busy with her thoughts, she almost missed what the emperor had to say. The Grand Royal Gardener, who was also my good friend, wants to train an apprentice who will someday take on his duties of overseeing the care of all of the imperial gardens. Therefore, there will be a contest to see who can grow the healthiest and most beautiful plant from the seed you are given. You all must return to the palace in 6 months with your plant, and a decision will be made. This is more a test of gardening skill. It is an opportunity of a lifetime. Remember that. The emperor then turned and left the garden. When Lian returned home with the seed that she had been given, she carefully planted it in a big pot with her best soil and put it in the center of the garden. For the next 6 months, she tended to that pot with more attention and care than she had given any other plant. She checked the pot every morning and every evening, looking closely for even the slightest little sprout coming out of the dark earth. She moved the pot into the sun, hoping that would help. Then she thought it might need to be cooler, so she moved it back into the shade. She watered it and encouraged it to grow in a soft and gentle voice, but her efforts were in vain. The seed never grew. When it came time to return to the palace, Lian's pot was empty. Her parents said, "You did the very best you could. We know it was difficult, but you must go back even if you don't have anything to show." Lian thought of all the other gardeners showing their beautiful plants to the emperor, and she thought of her empty pot, and it was an awful thought. Her cousin said, "Lian, no one will know if you take another plant. You've grown so many plants from seeds. Just show the emperor one of those. It's not like it would be a lie." Her friends at school said, "You can't show the emperor an empty pot. It will be a disgrace to the whole village, and it won't hurt anyone if you take another plant. You are a very good gardener, so, that's the truth." Lian had decided what to do. When all the gardeners gathered in the imperial courtyard once again, Lian could see hundreds of pots all around her, each one holding a beautiful, healthy plant. The pot in front of Lian held only dirt. The emperor and the royal gardener walked among the pots. They were silent as they inspected the variety of lush greenery. When they came to Lian, they paused. The emperor looked at the grand royal gardener, and he looked back at the emperor. Then the gardener picked up Lian's pot, and the emperor beckoned Lian to follow to the center of the courtyard. Lian followed. Her heart was beating so fast. What would the emperor do to her in front of all of those people? She was stunned to hear him address the crowd, saying, "Behold, the new apprentice has been chosen. All of you are excellent gardeners, that is clear. But the plants here were not the result of the seeds that I gave you. The seeds you were given were baked in an oven and could not grow. I knew you all had great skill, but the royal gardener must first be someone I could trust." Lian felt shy at everyone staring at her and the empty pot. She smiled, though, as she thought of all the flowers and fruit that she would grow in the royal gardens to share with them all. So now, that's that part where we trust, right? So also in this lesson this week are some quotes. And there's a quote from Buddha. Perhaps you all have heard of him. He was a Chinese prophet. And he was so wise. So here's what he had to say. Have confidence in the truth, although you may not be able to understand it, although you may suppose its sweetness to be bitter, although you may shrink from it at first. Trust in the truth. Have faith in the truth and live it. So let me ask you, now that you've heard that, do we think that Lian had faith in the truth by showing up with an empty pot and just thought, I'm just going to tell them the truth. I did everything I could. And those others, they did not have faith in the truth, for they were also embarrassed and ashamed, and they were afraid. But Leanne faced her fear. So here's the questions from this week's lesson. What would you have told Leanne if she had asked you for advice about going to the palace with the empty pot? And it's okay to be honest and say, well, I might have told her to bring another plant, right? Because that's your truth. It's not the truth, but it's your truth. And that's the bottom line. Be truth with yourself. So that's one of the questions. So think about that. And if you would have told her to go ahead with the empty pot, why? And if you would have told her to just bring another plant, why? And if it was because you were afraid, then go back to that trust in the truth. Just trust in it. So I have a short story about that. My job, I thought that I had missed a job. This was last week. And I was going through my paperwork and I thought I had missed a job. And I thought, wow, they didn't call me. They didn't tell me, hey, where are you? Nothing. And I thought, well, maybe they don't know. And as fast as I thought that, I thought, but I know. So I reached out and I sent an email and I apologized. And I said, I appear to have just missed this job and I'm very sorry. And I acknowledged it. And I said, I will be more careful next time. Well, guess what? The job wasn't till the next day. So I didn't miss the job. So because I was honest, they wrote back and they said, no big deal. You didn't miss it. Thanks for letting us know, but you didn't miss it. It's not till tomorrow. And I thought, okay, guess what? Now tomorrow I'm going to be extra aware and I'm not going to miss it. But because I did that, then the people that I sent that email to, they know that the word is integrity. And I think that integrity is what happens when no one's looking. That it's the honesty that we have when no one's looking. So I had the integrity to send that email and say, I missed a job. And I was so embarrassed, guys. Oh, I was mortified, really. I mean, you can't even imagine how embarrassed I was. But I needed to fess up, right? Well, turns out I didn't actually do it. I didn't miss the job. So that's the first thing. So ask yourself why you would do what you would do. The other question is, have you ever been, oh, I forgot this led into it. Have you ever been scared of telling the truth? I just told you I was. I was really afraid. And I'm really glad that I did it. And it's a million times others that I have done that I could recall from when I was little and since I've been a grown-up. So it doesn't mean we're not afraid when we're a grown-up, just so you know. We just do it and we trust in the process. And so yeah, just tell the truth and just accept the consequences because they're never as bad as lying. They're just not. All right. What was the truth that Leanne decided was most important and caused her to go back to the palace with the empty pot? And I think that leads to integrity. I think that she had decided that she was just going to explain to them. Excuse me 1 minute. Felt like I just sneezed. I did. She was just going to tell the truth and just, look, I did the best I could. And sorry I couldn't grow anything. And, thanks for asking me to. And yet because she did and was the only one, she got this opportunity of a lifetime. But you never know what's on the other side of that door. You just need to walk through that truth door. And sometimes you're going to get rewarded like Leanne did. And sometimes you just feel good about yourself. And the last question is, do you think that Leon would agree with that quote from Buddha that I read to you, which is trust in the truth? And I'm going to say yes, that I think that confidently, I think that Leon is going to accept the truth. And I hope that this week's lesson reminds you that no matter what, just tell the truth. And integrity is what happens when no one's looking. And just remember that. And I miss you guys. And I will, the church is still, the building is still closed, but church is still open. We are still here. And we are still doing Sunday service. Maybe y'all are logging in with your moms and dads and grandparents and things like that on Sunday mornings, and watching Reverend Anna and the music. The music is still happening, and so hope to see you at least online. And if you log in on Sunday morning, make sure you say hello. Have your parents say hello, and we'll say hello back. Right? So have a wonderful week, and thank you for your time and letting us continue to be here together. All right. And last thing, I would like to bless you. So we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. Have a wonderful week.